Let's get straight to it. 2004 Ford Explorer Sports Track XLT. This is the 4.0 liter engine. Today we are replacing the inner and outer tie rods on this vehicle, and you will need a special tie rod removal tool. It doesn't have to be the same exact one, but it needs to be an inner tie rod removal tool. So this is the outer tie rod, the inner tie rod, and this is the boot that goes over the inner tie rod. I'm going to start by getting this grease fitting inside the outer tie rod and getting that out of the way. So this is going to be a 7mm to tighten this down. So there's a couple of wrench sizes you're going to need to get this job done. You're going to need a 21mm, and that's going to be for this nut here. And you're going to need a 22mm. That's going to be to hold the outer tie rod. And as far as the inner tie rod, you're going to need a 13mm to hold there, and you're going to need the 22mm for the locking nut. So I have the vehicle in the air, and I have my jack stand in place. So now we just gotta get this tire off. Okay, let's go ahead and get this pried off here. Just take a flathead. All right. So, by the way, if you're going to be using an impact like me, then you can do it this way. But if you want to use a breaker bar, as you can see, this is spinning. So you're gonna have to get these broken off while the car is in the air, well, on the ground with weight on the tire. And then once these are broken free, you can lift it in the air and then finish getting them off that way. But since I'm using the impact, I'm just gonna go ahead and get these off. This is our tie rod here. This is our outer tie rod, and this is the inner tie rod. So to get the outer tie rod off, we have to bust this this nut right here loose. So once it's free, like I said, we just leave that alone, and then we'll come down here, and we have to get this cotter pin out right here. All right, so I got this cotter pin out, but before I spin this all the way off, I'm gonna clean this up with this wire wheel here on my drill. If you don't have a wire wheel in the drill, you can just use a wire brush, and then I'm gonna spray it down with some PB Blaster. So as you can see, it's been sprayed down and it's coming off so easy. So this is the reason why we clean these and spray them down. Now when it comes to getting these outer tie rod ends out of here, now since we're changing this, we can beat on this with no problem. But just in case you need to know how to get it out without damaging this, normally you would hit around here on the outer side of this, kind of like that. Shake everything up. And if that doesn't do it enough, try hitting on the other side and then putting the castle nut back on. Now, for these, I have so many nuts and bolts. I normally keep extra bolts around, so I'll use my extra bolts, my spare bolts to hit with these. But just so you can know, you can still use your old, and just put it on, not all the way on, but mostly on, so you're not hitting your threads. And then you can hit on the bottom of this, just like that, to get that out. Now this should thread off nice and easy with no thread damage. So That's how you get that out of there. This outer tie rod end is free to remove. So all we have to do is, remember, don't move that nut there. You want to leave that nut right in place. So this is obviously a beginner tip, but there are beginner mechanics out there. So when you're doing inner tie rods, the best way to get this back in place is to break this nut loose, move the locking nut back maybe 1/8 of a turn, and once you start to spin this off, make sure you count the revolutions. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21 revolutions it took to get that off. So when I go to put my new one on, I'm going to change this all out and put my new inner tie rod on. I'm going to make sure I spin this 21 revolutions on my new tie rod. So when I go to put my new tie rod on here, I'm going to make sure to go 21 revolutions and stop before I get everything all together. And then of course I bring my backing nut back on and lock everything down. And that's the best way to get your tie rods back as close as factory specs as possible before the alignment. All right, so we got the outer tie rod off. So we're going to take our 14mm now to hold this down, and we're going to get this nut all the way back off. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this impact because it's way faster and better. All right, just like that, we got that off. So this boot is recessed in here, and you can barely see back there, but there's a clamp that we need to remove. So this is what it looks like from the back. So you can take a flathead and pry that clamp out of there. So you can see the clamp starting to pry off now. And you can kind of make out where the clamp is right there. So right now it's actually pushing off. I'll just push the boot off of this right here. So I didn't even have to snap it that time. So right now it's off. So all I have to do is get the other clamp off. So this is just a regular clamp here on this outside of this boot. So let's get that clamp off. I can just grab back here now and pull this off. So the trick is to get it over this lip right here. It's real hard to do unless you're gripping it back there. So once it's over the lip, you can pull the whole thing off. So, and remember, we already loosened up this this metal clamp right here from the inside. So this is what we went on the inside with the flathead, and we were loosening up this clamp. So what I wanted to do is get into, what we normally want to do is get into here to loosen the clamp and twist, but I wasn't able to see that from back there. So I just had to get in where I could and twist. And once it created some space, I was able to get behind the clamp itself and twist and stretch it out, and able to push the boot off. And that's how I got this boot off. All right, so now it's the time that we all been waiting for. So this is the tie rod removal tool here. You have 3 sizes. There's an inch 7/16, inch 3/16, inch 5/16. So we're going to take our tool, we'll take our new tie rod, and we're going to see which one of these fits. Yep, and it's that one right there. It's kind of dirty, it was laying in the grass. But you can see this is the tool for it right here. It fits right in that one, and it doesn't fit in any of the other ones. So we're gonna use the 1 7/16 for this vehicle. So we take the tool that we picked out, set it up on that outer edge of that inner tie rod, and put our handle on it. And that should hold it up there, but we're still gonna have to use one of our hands to hold it. Now I'm gonna take a breaker bar here, and I'm going to turn it counterclockwise with this breaker bar, and this is how I'm going to get this loose. So here we go. So that actually broke free there. It does it a lot of time when it breaks free, it just falls off. And so we're gonna spin this off, and look how sloppy that is right there. Like this is the reason we're changing this. So you definitely don't want it to be like that. And I'll show you what the new one's supposed to feel like. So don't forget to lubricate your new part, and once you get that lubricated, go ahead and start to thread that in there the same way how you threaded the old one out. Alright, so, and you can see how firm this is right here, trying to move this around. So this is not sloppy like the last one was. So now that it's tight in there, we do the same exact opposite thing we did. We put our tool on here, and then we'll go clockwise this time, tighten. So get our tool on, and right now I'm tightening it with my breaker bar, and I'm going clockwise with it. Alright, that should be enough there. That's really, really tight. So now our inner tie rod is technically on. So the new boot, I'm going to use a regular hose clamp on there. So I'm just putting one up there to match it up. I'm going to take it off, and I'll put it back on there after I get the boot up. So once you get the boot on, then we can go ahead and get our locking nut back on. We have to remove our locking nut so we can get our tool handle over here. But now that the inner tie rod is tight, we can bring this locking nut back on here. And remember, when we put our outer tie rod on, it was 21 revolutions. So we're gonna count that as well. And it's already lubricated here at the end. So we're gonna start with the outer tie rod as soon as it starts to thread, which is right there. So every time we go around, I'll count, because right now it's barely on. So let's see, right there it's barely on. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21 revolutions is all I needed. So let's go ahead and drop that in there. All right. So before I lock this all the way down, I'm going to tighten up this castle nut down here first. All right, now throw a cotter pin through here. All right, guys, cotter pin is in. Let's go ahead and bring that all the way back. So this is a 22 millimeter I'm using. So of course it's gonna shift first, but once it stops right there, then I can go ahead and tighten that like that, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, so as you can see, the inner tie rod, the boot, the outer tie rod, everything is good now. Everything is back in alignment, the best as we can get it. So that's pretty much it for this job and this side.